everyone, Ashutosh Bhatodekar once again with another video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the important terms which are a part of the PMP certification program. Apart from PMP certification, I feel these terms every project manager should be aware of. Now, I have tried to list down the 10 most important terms. So it could very well be possible that the term what you are looking for may not be there in the list. But don't worry, there's another video which is coming up where there will be another set of terms of project management in that video. So let us start with the first term, which is very popularly asked in any of the PMP certification program. And this term is called as progressive elaboration. And what do we mean by progressive elaboration? Progressive elaboration from a project perspective means that, let's say, as a project manager, when I start the project, on the first day of the project, I have got a very limited information about the project, its stakeholders, its objective, and what the final product would look like. But as the days progresses, as the months progresses, we get a more clarity and insight into what the project is all about. So that's what the meaning of the word progressive elaboration means, which means iteratively we get more clarity and insights into what this project is all about. The second term which we have is the work breakdown structure. A WBS, as is the short form of a work breakdown structure, is a graphical representation of the work which has to be done in the project. One golden rule which all of us should understand is that work which is not in WBS is not supposed to be done. So we are supposed to do only the work which is present as a graphical display in my WBS or a work breakdown structure as it is popularly called as. A WBS has got multiple subcomponents, be it a control account, be it a work package, planning package, and every box in a WBS has a unique code called as the code of accounts. Let's go to the next term. The next term we have is the critical path. So what is critical path all about? As we all know that when we construct a project schedule, there are multiple paths in the schedule or the network diagram as we popularly call it. The longest path in the network diagram is the critical path. Paradoxically, it means that this is the earliest when all the activities in the project can be completed. One significance about critical path is that activities on the critical path cannot be delayed by even a single day, which in turn means that the total float or the buffer or the slack on the critical path is equal to zero. I personally look at critical path as an important path where I would put my best of the best resources on my critical path because I cannot afford to delay any activities on the critical path. Let's move on to the next term. The next term we have is a scope baseline. Now, in project management, baseline has got a very significant definition. Baseline means something which is approved by the key stakeholders of the project. And overall, in project management, there are three baselines: a scope baseline, a schedule baseline, and a cost baseline. Out of which scope baseline is a combination of three elements: your approved project scope statement, plus work breakdown structure, and a detailed description of the work breakdown structure, which is in a WBS dictionary or a work breakdown structure dictionary. So these three elements combined together constitute what is called as a scope baseline. Next term coming up our way is the classic difference between quality and grade. I think these two terms are very confusing. We think both these terms mean the same thing, but in reality, quality is the degree to which a product, service, or a result meets or conforms to the requirement, whereas grade is more related to the products having the same functional use but different set of technical characteristics. No one will go in for a poor quality product, but one can opt for a low grade product. So let me explain this with an example. As you see here, you see a chocolate, and this chocolate comes in two types of packaging. One is a normal packaging, which we can go and buy at the grocer, and another one is a gift pack for a special occasion like, let's say, Diwali, Christmas, or any other festival. Now, both the chocolates are of same quality, but if you look at the grade which is coming in a celebration pack or for a festival pack is much higher than a normal wrapper, in which the chocolate is being wrapped, right? So definitely, the quality of the chocolate is same in both the packets, but the grade is something which is higher in a gift wrapper, what we see here. Now it is entirely the customer's choice to opt for a high grade product or a low grade product, but quality is something which no customer or a consumer is going to compromise. But I can still go with a low grade product provided that the quality is intact. Moving ahead, the next important statement we need to understand is the change management process. In traditional project management, once your project plan is baselined, any changes to that original baseline have to be routed through a change management process. And one of the bodies which handles this change management process is the Change Control Board or the Change Advisory Board. So every change which is raised, it will go through the Change Advisory Board or through the Change Control Board, and it will go through that detailed process of impact analysis. It will go through the meeting of the change control board, and at the end of the meeting a go no go decision related to the change is taken. Moving ahead, fishbone diagram or Ishikawa diagram. Now this is one of the tool, I would say, for identifying the root cause of a problem. And another name for this tool is cause and effect diagram. So in a root cause analysis, we use this tool. And why it is called as a fishbone diagram is because it is in the shape of a fish, as you can see here, right? So your problem statement is defined at the head of the fish. And then there are various causes which could be contributing to the problem. We use techniques like brainstorming, voting, or discussions to arrive at the primary cause why that problem is occurring. And this is what is called as a fishbone diagram or a Ishikawa diagram. Next term we have is a cost baseline. It is also popularly called as an S curve. So it is in the shape of an alphabet S, and that's why it is called as an S curve. The cost baseline is nothing but your project cost plus contingency reserve. Remember, there are two types of reserves: known unknown, which is contingency reserve; unknown unknown, which is management reserve. Management reserve is not a part of the cost baseline. It is only the contingency reserve which is a part of cost baseline. And on x-axis of a cost baseline, you have the project duration or the timeline. And on y-axis, you have the cumulative cost. This takes the shape of an alphabet S, as I said earlier, and that's why it is also called popularly as an S curve. Next, the very famous Maslow's hierarchy of need. So Abraham Maslow was a sociologist who came out with this theory of needs. And what he proposes in this theory of needs is that every human being has got certain needs. Until and unless your lower level needs are not satisfied, you really don't move up the ladder. So at the lowest level, we have the physiological need, which is food, clothing, shelter. And at the topmost layer, you have the self-actualization need. In between, there are other needs which are coming up there. So this is a tool which is used from a motivation perspective. As a manager, if I want to motivate my employees, I should know at which layer of the Maslow's hierarchy is my employee there, and how do I motivate him or her to move to the next level. Moving ahead, we have the very famous Douglas McGregor's theory X and theory Y. Again, this is a motivation theory, but this is more from the manager's perception about employees. So if I am a theory X manager, I inherently believe that my employees are avoiding work, my employees are lazy, and they have to be constantly micromanaged and monitored. So theory X reflects the command and control attribute of a project manager. Contrast it with theory Y. Theory Y talks about a manager being a manager trusting his or her employees, which means if I'm a theory Y manager, I trust my employees. I believe the fact that they are self motivated people, and they don't avoid work. So this is the classic theory X and theory Y proposed by Douglas MacGregor. I hope these 10 important statements in project management would help you in your PMP certification journey. As I said, there could be a possibility that the term what you are looking for is not there in the list. But don't worry, I'll be shooting another video, the part 2 of this video, where I will have another set of 10 terms which are important from a PMP certification perspective. This is Ashutosh Bhatodekar signing off for the moment. In case you like this video, do subscribe to it and kindly share our channel and subscription details to your friends, families, and colleagues. Bye for now and have a great day ahead. Thank you.